So today I wanted to talk a little bit about a wood splitter that I bought in the never-ending list of supplies that I seem to buy for the house here. Things like the tractor, the trailer, now a wood splitter. We've talked about chippers that we've bought and stuff. So yeah, just figured I'd give an update on this too. We bought this because we have a lot of trees and firewood, while it's not very expensive, if you can get some for free, probably not a bad idea. Of course, this splitter costs some money, and then gas and a chainsaw costs money, but we already have a chainsaw. So we figured after a couple cords of wood, this would pay for itself because we bought it at Tractor Supply. It's not a super expensive splitter by any means. It's one of their county line models. You can see that you can trailer it. That is how we brought it home. We brought it home on the trailer. As long as you don't go above, I think, 40 miles an hour, but read the manual, of course, you should be fine. We drove it about 10 miles from the Tractor Supply near our house in Morrisville to where we live. It's a 25-ton splitter. They do make much larger ones. We're not going to be going through 10 or 15 cords a year, right? So I didn't think I needed something gigantic, but I also didn't want a very small, like a plug-in one or whatever. I wanted something that could actually cut through some maple, some other hardwoods that we may, have that's just here on the property that we're going through. We do have, I don't know if you can make it out up there. There's a stack of wood there between the shed and the chicken coop. The chicken coop is off there and the shed is there. So, that pile of wood that's in the middle, that is all hardwoods that were harvested during some clearing of some trees from last year. We had some pines cut down, and those unfortunately had to come out while we were taking down the pines. So we've got those laying there. There's probably a good 2 cords of wood once we cut it all up sitting there. We also have some pine. I don't know if you can make that out. Let's see if I can zoom in. Yeah, there's some pine right there in front of the other shed. That is just to use for firewood outside in like the fire pit, right? Or if we really needed it, we could burn it in the house. But we try not to burn softwood in the house. We burn only hardwoods. But so we need to gut through all of that wood. And also we have a maple that came down during a storm. The top of it came down, so we cut down the maple and have it sitting here. This has been sitting most of the summer, so this is pretty dry wood already. I ran a couple rounds through just a few minutes ago to get it started. The splitter seems to work pretty awesome. I'm pretty happy with it so far. Large rounds don't seem to be a problem for it. Okay, large for me right now. If you're cutting down some giant tree, this is probably not the tool for you. But for a regular homeowner, when you have rounds that are, 18 inches across maybe, some of these are quite large. If you look at like the width of that guy right there, that's a pretty big log. These are all small to medium logs. Nothing gigantic, but like I said, small to medium. You'll be fine here. This is wood that we previously had. This is some wood that we had delivered. This is our overflow pile. So I stacked these logs here, or these rounds here, assuming that I would then just split some wood and stack it on top of these. And that's exactly what we're doing here. I've put, like I said, a couple rounds through, and it seems to be working great. It cuts through this maple without a problem. And this was, a maple, so this is somewhat hardwood. It's not super hardwood, but it's pretty hard. And it cut through this without a problem. Real easy. I'm surprised at how quick the setup was. When it comes, if you pick it up at the store, at least it's pre-assembled, including having hydraulic fluid and oil in it. Contrary to what the store told me that it didn't have hydraulic fluid, so I bought two containers of hydraulic fluid, expecting to have to fill it up. The instructions, if I had just read this here, tell you that it's pre-filled with oil and hydraulic oil. So you just have to check to make sure that the fluids are at their right levels. These were fine. To get it started, it's very simple. You just flip these guys. This one goes to on, so you turn the throttle up. This guy turns the gas on, and then there's a switch up here. You flip the switch, pull the pull trigger or the pull cable, and it gets going. You load logs up here. I do need to buy still. They sell trays that sit on the side here because it is a little bit of a hassle because you have to hold the wood, make sure they don't fall, especially when there's a round there. You basically have to let one half of the round fall and then pick it up again. So if you had a tray on the side, that one side that you're not holding could roll off to the side there. You could then cut up what you're cutting, throw it into your pile, and not have to bend twice for the same round, which is what I'm having to do right now. But once again, not terrible. I did notice that there is a lot of scrap that gets pulled back. I think that's just normal. I've never had a log splitter before, but it seems, you know, sensible to me that as you're breaking this stuff up, you're gonna have bits of wood and bark that are gonna fall off and end up in the track, and then this pulls it back. All right, so I'm gonna start it up here, show you what it sounds like, what it looks like when it's running. I might not have a lot of audio when this is running because it's quite loud, but I'll just let it go and we'll jump back in when I turn it off. So the first thing you got to do is flip the switch here to on. You can see there's an off and an on. So we're just going to flip it to on. Make sure that your throttle is out. I did just have this running, so it might not even need to be out, but... All right, so here it is running. I'm not sure if you can hear me. Step back a little bit. So the problem was, when I went to go start it, is that it was already warmed up, so having the throttle up was not going to work. Once it's already warm, you know, you don't have to have the throttle out. And I'm going to put my gloves back on, head over, and I'll slice this log that's in there up. So it's got a control handle. Forward pushes it this way, back pulls it back. On the reverse, it can lock. I'll show you that in a minute. We're gonna set the log so I get about a third. Yeah, so it's about a third. Now we can just push this forward. It goes. See, it cuts right on through. Now if you pull this back, you can leave it locked. Once it lands, it'll pop back into the neutral zone. So this one is done. Now this is what I was talking about, not having that tray. I have to then pick up the log again and reset it. So we'll go ahead and run it one more time. Pull it back. Stop it midway if you like. We'll throw this guy out. So even this one is kind of small already, but if you want to make smaller cuts, you can also do that. You just kind of line it up and send it back. Okay, while that's going, we're gonna grab another bigger round. So let's just grab one of these larger ones. Got the larger round loaded. Got it going on here. Just lay it in the middle. So we're gonna take the lever, push it forward. And you can see that both pieces come off pretty easily. This is what I was talking about again, where we can't, you know, not where we can't, but where one of those trays would be helpful, right? Because catching those side logs would be great. You don't have to pick it up multiple times. What I found is that if I angle it right, I can just cut the pieces directly, like so, and then catch this as it's about to fall. So it'll drop down there, and then just keep doing that. Okay, one more time. There we go. We'll turn it off. All right, so you can see how that worked. It works really, really well. It has a nice clean motion to it. It's not super loud to where you feel like your ears are getting destroyed, and the wood gets split very, very nicely. And I gotta say, that is a good split. Even with a big knot, you can see there was a knot in this piece right here. If you can make that out, right? That it just works around it and splits it very nicely. As I was mentioning earlier, I don't know if you could hear me over the motor, but what you can do is if you want to get smaller pieces, right, you can just kind of line them up and then do that. I have seen some of these where you can buy replacement heads for them. And so you can get some that have a cross head, right? So that you get 4 slices for each pass instead of 2. That might be something nice to look into. I don't know for sure that I would get that, but it definitely seems like it could be a time saver, right? If you can get 4 slices out of it instead of 2, could be very helpful. The other thing that I definitely will be investing in is the shelf, because as you can see, having to keep picking up these half rounds and repositioning them is kind of extra work that maybe you don't need to do, right? If you could just go ahead and run it through and be good to go. The logs would stay up on the shelves. It does come pre-built with some mounting screws holes right there, so that's where the shelves will get logged in. And then the shelves would just come out here. And on the other side, I think you can put one on either side. Here's the model number in case anybody is curious about it. It's YTL016919. Like I said, I got this at Tractor Supply. It's their County Line brand. It's 25 ton with a 200 cc Kohler engine. Really so far, now I have not put it through a ton of work, right? I've only done a few rounds, but from the initial experience here, I'm very, very pleased with it. As always with these engines, these small engines, small engines that are on these log splitters, and even like my my wood chipper, the modern small engines just seem to be very, very easy to use. You don't have to do a ton of setup with them. They just kind of go. One other thing to mention is that this can also go vertical, right? Right now it's horizontal, but it can be flipped up, so you can see there's a little arm here. What this can do is it can go up and down so that you can split up and down against the ground. I don't know why I would want to do that. I feel like that would just be even more bending, but maybe if you have bigger pieces that you can't lift or something, I'm not sure. If somebody knows, please let me know. I'm not, a woodsman for sure. This is all kind of new to me, which is why I make these reviews, because maybe somebody else like me will come across and wonder, is this County Line 25 ton any good, right? I couldn't find a ton of reviews out there. There were a few. And of course, on the Tractor Supply website, you'll see some, but I'm always hesitant to put any weight behind a retailer's reviews, right? I have to believe that they're filtering those out. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just, the cynic in me believes that somebody's probably filtering those out. So I don't always believe them. But yeah, I give it a pretty good review, especially for somebody novice like me that doesn't need to put through, 10 cords a year. I might do 1 or 2 cords a year, or maybe 3. If I do 3 cords a year with this, probably going to be okay. If you were doing a ton of wood and you had really, really big rounds, this probably wouldn't be big enough for you. But I don't have any trees that are going to be, 300 years old and have gigantic rounds from them, right? All the trees on my property are fairly young, less than 100 years old. So anything that I do cut down is going to be on the medium to small size. Nothing's going to be gigantic. And I think that this can handle it pretty well. I'll give an update again in the future if we do run into any trouble with this, or even if my review gets more glowing. But from this point, I've been out here 10 minutes, my very first time using it. Literally, this is the first day I fired it up, and I've done a good amount of wood. This is a couple days worth of wood right here, and it only took me a few minutes of work. This is really, really nice compared to an axe. If you're splitting this by hand, it's hard work, it's tiring, it's hard on your back. Once I get the shelf, this is going to actually be pretty okay on my back. Outside of the initial lift of the round, right, like picking the round up and bringing it over to the log splitter, there's really not a lot of lifting to be done after that point, especially if you have this log splitter positioned somewhere near where your wood pile is going to be. So I could take this up to my woodshed, split the wood right in front of the woodshed in the spring or whatever, right, once we have some time for it to dry, and just drive the rounds up in the tractor bucket. I will then not have to really lift much at all except to get the rounds into the bucket. So, you can probably make this a pretty efficient operation. All right, well, once again, I just wanted to kind of give a little review here. show, yet another toy or, item that we have for the house here that we're using to try and save some money and be a little more ecologically or environmentally friendly, right? Wood is supposedly much cleaner and much more, renewable, which definitely makes sense, than burning gas or oil. So, if you can burn wood, and we have the wood, and these trees are falling and breaking, and some of them are unhealthy, so thinning the woods is probably not going to be a bad idea in the first place. It's a good idea. Once again, 25-ton county line log splitter. Got it from Tractor Supply. I have absolutely no kickback or anything from Tractor Supply on this. Believe me, I'm a little itty bitty channel. They are not paying me to give you a review. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this. If you like this content, please subscribe to the channel, give a thumbs up. We'll talk to you later.